everyone, it's Rachel, and in this video I'm going to be doing another one of my number generator chooses my or designs my clay charm videos. This is like a little series that I've kind of made, I guess. Pretty much I use the Google number generator from Google, and I use it to pick a random animal and a random dessert from these lists here. And then once I have my animal and my dessert item, I then need to combine the two ideas somehow and make it into a charm. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I do already have 2 more of these types of videos if you enjoy them, so I will leave them linked down below. And I guess let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to find out what I'm going to be making. Here are my lists of animals and desserts, and then I've also got the random number generator over here. So the first thing I need to do is find out the first animal. So there's 32 types of animal possible, and I am going to be making 21, a moose, so that's the first animal, and then I need to check the desserts. We've got 37, so I'll just change that quickly, and the dessert is going to be number 10, which is a cookie. Alright, so I need to try and combine a mousse and a cookie. Now we'll move on to the next one. So I'm going to find out my animal, and the number is 18, which is a lion, okay? And the food item I'm going to be mixing with the lion is number 8, which is a chocolate mousse. You know what? It actually would have been perfect if the mousse was lined up with the chocolate mousse. But anyway, so I need to try and combine a lion and a chocolate mousse. The final animal is going to be number 23, which is an octopus, okay? And the octopus is going to be combined with number 15, which is some French toast. So before beginning making the charms out of clay, I decided to roughly draw up the designs on my iPad, and this is just using an app called Procreate. I firstly sketched out my ideas, so you can see that for the mousse cookie, I've tried to make the head the actual chocolate chip cookie part. For the octopus and the French toast together, I thought it'd be easier if I've just kind of put the octopus on some French toast, because I wasn't really sure how to combine those two ideas. And then similar with the lion and the chocolate mousse, I just kind of put it coming out the top of the jar or the cup that the chocolate mousse is in. So the first combination I'm making is the mousse and the chocolate cookie. So I'm taking some vanilla colored clay, and I'm going to be making the head of the mousse, which is also going to become the chocolate chip cookie. So I've got these pieces of brown clay, which I've just got pre-baked, and I'm chopping them up into finer little pieces using my blade. Then I've just picked these up, and I'm kind of pushing them into the clay and squishing them in as much as I can so that they look like they are actually part of the cookie. Then I'm just rolling them around between the palms of my hands and flattening the cookie back out again, and just really getting it how I want it to look. I then wanted to add some texture to my cookie, so here I've got a ball of aluminium foil, and I'm just pressing this into the clay to give it a realistic kind of looking texture. Plus I did the same with my paintbrush bristles as well. Here I'm adding some shading to my design, so I'm using a fluffy paintbrush and some chalk pastels, and this will just make it look like the cookie has actually been baked. Now it's time to actually start making it look like a mousse design. So here I'm adding the nose or the muzzle mouth part of the mousse using some plain vanilla colored clay that hasn't been shaded. I'm also creating 2 indents right where I want the eyes to go, and then I'm adding in 2 balls of black clay for those. I positioned on 2 balls of pink clay for the cheeks, and then to finish off the nose part, I'm adding 2 thin coils of black clay. I then went ahead and created some ears off camera, which I'm positioning on, and then I'm going to make the antlers. So this color I have here is called Ecru, and it's by Premo. And I've rolled 2 pieces of clay kind of like into curved teardrop kind of shapes. And then using my needle tool, I'm adding a few indents to the design of the antlers. It was then just a matter of trimming the end parts off so that I had a flat surface to work with, and I positioned them onto the cookie and blended down the edges as well so that they were nice and secure. I then made this design into a charm, so I added an eye pin, and then I went ahead and baked it in my oven, and I'll show you the final product at the end of the video. Next up, we have the combination of the octopus and the French toast. So I'm going to begin by creating a plate to place the French toast on, and I'm using some granite colored clay, which I've also just mixed in a little bit of black to just darken the color slightly. I flattened this clay down on my work surface to create a circle, and I'm also using my rolling pin, and then I did the exact same to another piece of clay as well, and I'm adding these two pieces together to finish off the plate design. To create the bread shape for the French toast, I took some vanilla colored clay and I'm creating two very large indents on either side of this piece of clay. I've then just taken my long blade and I've trimmed off the edge parts so that it's nice and straight and flat. And if you ever do want to do this with some clay to create a slice of bread, you can firstly place the clay in the freezer, and then it's much easier to cut and the shape doesn't get ruined too much. Now, because this is going to become French toast, I of course had to add some shading so it actually looks like it's being cooked. So I started off with my regular color of chalk pastels in the center of the bread, and then I'm adding some darker shading all around the outside for the toasted crust. I also textured the clay using my toothbrush as well. Then it was just a matter of positioning my slice of French toast onto the plate, and then here I'm just giving it some extra texture again, which kind of got lost when I placed it down. So for this particular French toast design, I'm making a sweet French toast because of course this whole challenge is combining an animal and a sweet. So I'm firstly going to create some kind of syrup, whether that's maple syrup or I don't really know, to be honest. But this is going to go on the toast for part of the decorations. So I used a mixture of Sculpey Bacon Bond, and I also added in some Fimo Deco Gel as well, just to make it look a little bit more translucent and syrupy in color. And I colored these liquid clays using my chalk pastels before then drizzling this over the toast. I then moved on to creating the sweet little octopus to place onto the toast. So like I mentioned, this combination of animal and dessert is a little bit weird. So I did think about making an octopus shaped piece of French toast originally, but I don't think anyone would have guessed what it was meant to be. So this is the design that I went with. I'm creating a pastel blue octopus, and I'm beginning by rolling out the 8 stubby little tentacles before then moving on to the face details. And I also added some little purple splotches to the very top of the head too, before then positioning him onto the rest of the design. Finally, is some extra decoration to really try and get the idea across that this is a dessert piece of toast. I created a few little strawberries and blueberries, which I scattered all around the plate, and then I went to bake this in my oven, and again, you'll see the results at the end of the video. The final combination we have is a lion and a chocolate mousse, and I was a little bit confused about how to make this one, but then I found this little plastic cup which I'm going to be using for the base of the chocolate mousse. So here you can see that I'm starting off by creating the lion. So I've got some bright yellow clay, and I'm firstly attaching on the ears, and then I'm moving on to creating the features of the face as well. I added a little tan colored triangle for the mouth muzzle kind of part, and I created 2 indents where I wanted the eyes to go. I added in 2 balls of clay for the eyes, and then here I'm just finishing off the face. For the lion's mane, it's almost like I'm creating a sun out of polymer clay. So what I did was create a bunch of little triangles, and then I'm just attaching these around the face and behind the ears as well. I also created 2 little paws using the yellow colored clay, and then here I'm just bending them over the cup so that it will look like the lion is hanging out over the edge. And I'm doing this now so that I can make them the right shape. I also positioned a tail on the back, and then I'm just connecting the head onto the paws which are in the cup, and I'm placing the head into the cup so that it also gets the right shape. I then very carefully removed the clay from the mousse cup, and I'm going ahead and baking the lion in my oven according to my package's instructions.
While that was baking, I thought I would go ahead and begin making the chocolate mousse. So for this, I'm kind of creating two different layers and I'm using some acrylic paint. So I started off by covering the bottom of the chocolate mousse cup with some dark brown paint. And then here I'm just making a lighter brown moussey colored mixture for the rest of it as well. Once I had finished painting the inside of the cup and the paint was dry, I wasn't sure how I was going to fill up the center. So I just started off by adding some UV resin and curing it. But here you can see as it cured, it kind of pulled the paint away from the edges and I didn't really like the look of it. So luckily I was able to actually remove this from the plastic cup and clean it up a little bit. So then it's pretty much back to square one and I'm adding my paint all over again. So for my second try, I took this brown puffy paint, which I thought would also look really good for the drips over the side. So I'm adding the drips first and then I also filled up the inside of the cup with this brown paint and you can see that I dropped it and made a mess, but I'll clean that up later. So yeah, I poured this inside the cup instead of the resin this time and I was praying that it would work and I wouldn't have to redo it all again for a third time. My little line was then finished baking and I added this into the cup of the chocolate mousse and you can see that I have also glazed the clay as well so it's nice and shiny. Then it was pretty much just a matter of waiting for the puffy paint to dry. So now let's have a little look at the finished designs, beginning with the mousse cookie. This one was probably the most simple one in this video, and this is what the finished design looks like. Even though it's not super complicated, I still really like how it turned out. Then we have the little octopus on French toast. I really love the colors of this charm and how it turned out, considering originally I was a bit confused on how I was going to make this design and combine these two combinations. You can see here that I have also only glazed the octopus and the syrup to make it look nice and shiny and stand out. Then we have our final design, which is the combination of the lion and the chocolate mousse. And I really love this one. I think the little clay lion is super cute peeking out of the chocolate mousse cup. And I do really love how the cup turned out with the two layers of mousse, plus the chocolate drizzle running down the sides as well. This was actually my first time using the brown puffy paint. I've had it in my cupboard for a couple of years, but I've just never got the chance to use it. And I'm so glad that it actually worked out in place of the resin, which obviously didn't work at all. So here's just a look of all the charms together. These types of videos are always a lot of fun to make because they really force me to be creative.
So that's everything for this video. As I said, I really like how these charms turned out and it's really hard to pick a favorite. I think it would definitely have to be between the lion chocolate mousse and the octopus French toast. But let me know which charm you like the most from this video. Let me know down below in the comments, and that is everything. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel for lots more crafty videos. And I will see you next time. Bye guys.